You know that feeling, right? You've planned every single detail, you're pushing harder and harder, and you just end up exhausted and frustrated because life, well, it isn't following your script. But what if the secret to getting what you want wasn't about more control, but actually less? The ancient Stoics pretty much mastered this whole art form centuries ago, and today we're going to break down their powerful approach.
It's a question that can drive you absolutely crazy. You put in all the work, you apply all the pressure, and it feels like the universe just pushes back even harder. So what's going on here? Why does trying to force an outcome so often lead to the exact opposite of what we want?
You know, it really boils down to two totally different ways of moving through life. On one side, you've got the path of force, and that road, it's almost always paved with frustration, resistance, and a whole lot of anxiety. But on the other side, there's the path of flow, which is built on this foundation of ease and trust, and just alignment. We're here to dive deep into that second, much more powerful path.
All right, so let's start with the problem itself, this deep, deep need for control. We think that if we can just manage every little variable, predict every outcome, and strategize every single move, we'll finally get what we want. But honestly, in our hyper-competitive world, that just leads straight to burnout. It's this totally exhausting cycle that, let's be real, rarely even works. This right here nails the central paradox perfectly. It's like trying to hold on to sand in your fist, you know? The tighter you squeeze, the faster it just slips away. This desperate need for control, this thing we think gives us all our power, often ends up being the very thing that makes us lose it.
So if trying to control the outside world is basically a losing game, where do we turn? Well, the Stoics would tell you turn inward. Because real power, true power, isn't about managing events, it's about mastering your response to them.
The ancient Stoic philosopher Epictetus he absolutely nailed the source of our modern anxieties with this one little insight. Think about it. It's not the project that gets delayed or the promotion we didn't get that really causes us pain. Nope. It's our intense, rigid attachment to the specific outcome we had all locked up in our minds.
And it is so important to get this definition right. Detachment isn't about not caring. It's not about throwing your hands up and just giving up on your goals. It's a huge shift. It's freeing yourself from the need for things to go exactly one specific way for you to be okay. It's freedom.
So how do we actually do this? Okay, here are 3 practical steps. First, just make it a daily practice to remind yourself that the final result is never, ever fully in your hands. Second, you gotta actively reframe setbacks, see them as opportunities to learn something. And third, bring all of your focus back to this very moment, to the effort you can control right here, right now.
This is it. This is the famous Stoic dichotomy of control in a nutshell. All of our energy should be poured into what we can control, our mindset, our actions, our responses. The things we can't, the final outcome, what other people think, the precise timing, those are just massive energy drains. Acknowledge them, sure, but don't invest your peace of mind there. And this is that mindset shift in action. Instead of seeing a difficulty as just a roadblock, Seneca is telling us to see it as a workout for our character. Every challenge, every single moment of frustration is actually an opportunity to build up our mental and emotional strength. Okay, so we've started mastering our inner state. Great. Now how does that change how we actually act out in the world? Well, this next part is all about moving from that frantic, desperate energy of chasing things to a calm, confident state of attracting them.
See, the energy behind your action matters way more than the action itself. Desperate action, it comes from fear, it feels needy, and it literally repels opportunities. But purposeful action, that comes from a place of clarity. It carries this confident energy, and it attracts the very things you're looking for.
Let's make this super concrete with something like a job search. The desperate seeker is all anxious, they're scattering applications everywhere, and they're just terrified of rejection. But the purposeful applicant, they're calm. They're focused. They craft really meaningful applications that are based on their actual strength, and they trust in their own value. I mean, which one do you think makes a better impression?
And this right here gets to the very heart of purposeful action. Epictetus is telling us to get crystal clear on our why before we even think about the what. Define your intention, your values, your purpose first, and then the right actions, they'll just flow naturally from that solid foundation.
This brings us to our final, and maybe the most challenging piece of the whole puzzle, trusting the process. This is all about letting go of our rigid timelines and cultivating this deep sense of faith that things are unfolding exactly as they should, even when we can't see the full picture yet.
In our world of instant everything, this is such a critical reminder. Anything truly worthwhile, a strong relationship, mastering a skill, a successful career, it just doesn't happen overnight. It requires patience, it requires persistence, and it requires a trust in timing.
The analogy of the farmer is just perfect for this. Look, the farmer does their part, right? They prepare the soil, they plant the seeds, they water the crops. That's what's in their control. But they can't control the weather or the exact day the seeds will sprout or the final size of the harvest. They do their work, and then they have to trust the process. And this trust, it's fueled by your core mindset. A scarcity mindset is always focused on what's missing, which just creates a reality of lack and pushes opportunity away. But an abundance mindset, it focuses with gratitude on what you already have. And that energy of appreciation, it actually attracts more good things into your life.
The Stoics had a pretty radical definition of abundance. It wasn't about having a bigger house or more money in the bank. True wealth, they argued, comes from mastering your own desires. It's about finding contentment and fulfillment with what you have, right here, right now.
So if you take just one thing away from all this, let it be this. The constant struggle to force life into your pre-designed little box is a losing game. The real path to power and to peace is found in aligning your purposeful actions with a deep trust in the process.
And that brings us to the final question, the one I want you to take with you. Think about your life right now. What is one specific outcome, one expectation that's causing you stress, that you can consciously choose to just release your grip on, starting today?